Welcome to the Deep Dive, your one-stop shop for becoming ridiculously well-informed. We take those sources you send us and pull out the most important stuff, the coolest stuff, those real aha moments, all just for you, our listener, who wants to get it, like really get it, without wading through a ton of information.
Yeah, and today we're going deep into these excerpts from a PDF you sent over called Lost Hero by Riordan. And right off the bat, it drops us into this crazy mystery all about a guy named Jason.
So imagine, right? You wake up on a school bus and you have absolutely zero clue who you are. I mean, nothing. Not your name, not where you're going, zip. That's where we find Jason, and the thing is, he's not exactly alone. There are these two other students, Piper and Leo, and their coach, Hedge, all acting like they've known him forever. Talk about freaking out, right?
It's like this perfectly messed up way to start the story. It throws both Jason and you, listening in, right into his confusion, his vulnerability. The writing really highlights how lost he is, how terrifying it is to have nothing where your memories should be.
And Piper and Leo's reactions, they add to the whole mystery too, don't they? Piper's super worried right away, figures he's got a concussion. That feels real, like how you'd react if someone seemed that lost.
But Leo, oh, he thinks it's some kind of joke at first, something about a shaving cream incident. He gives you this little hint that these three have some history, something Jason's just not remembering.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because the story doesn't just stop at the amnesia. It piles on this unsettling feeling, layer by layer. There's this new student, all aggressive, with these crazy white teeth, almost like a cartoon villain trying to get Piper away from Jason and Leo. Makes you think there's something dangerous lurking beneath the surface in this whole high school setting.
And then even the place they're at starts getting weird. They get to this museum, the National Museum of Nowhere, which already sounds off, and there's this super strange storm cloud, like a perfect circle just hanging right above the skywalk. Clear skies everywhere else, but right there, this dark, ominous circle. It's a powerful image and a huge sign that the normal rules don't apply here. For sure. It's like purposely messing with what's familiar, signaling that the world Jason's woken up in is just different. And then you've got Coach Hedge, who, in a way, actually reassures Jason, and maybe even you, listening, wondering if Jason's totally losing it. He says he's never seen Jason before today, which, in a way, confirms that Jason's not making this up.
But then, boom, there's this twist. Hedge goes on about the mist and smelling monster. It's cryptic, right? But it drops these hints about a hidden world, something beyond what most people see. Think of it like a magical curtain hiding the true nature of things.
Right. The mist is key here. It suggests that most people are seeing a manipulated version of reality. Hedge being able to smell monster tells us he's part of this hidden world. He knows the dangers. Then he gets all suspicious of Jason, like maybe he's some kind of infiltrator, which raises the question, why would that be a worry?
And then things get even more mysterious when Hedge mentions half-bloods, camp, and monsters. Jason has this crazy physical reaction to the words, like a total brain freeze, as if his mind is trying to claw its way back to something. It tells you these aren't just random words to him, they're locked away somewhere in his memory.
This reaction is so important. It suggests Jason's amnesia isn't a clean wipe, more like something's been suppressed. These words, they hit a nerve somewhere deep inside him. And Hedge, he goes from suspicious to kind of protective, waiting for this team to show up. Hints at some kind of organized group, maybe even a secret society with its own rules.
So already we're in strange territory, and then out of nowhere, Jason and Piper are flying. Not in a plane or anything, just suspended hundreds of feet above a river. Jason's just as shocked as we are. You'd think he'd remember being able to fly. But the fact that he even thinks about going up, and then they do, suggests it's something he can just do, some subconscious ability.
This sudden flight, it's a big shift. Takes the story from a mind-bending mystery into pure fantasy. They're described as balancing on a geyser of air, which points to some latent power within Jason, something beyond the laws of physics.
And if flying wasn't wild enough, then they run into these venti, which are storm spirits. What's so bizarre is that Jason just knows what they are. He can't remember his own name, but he recognizes these mythical beings. This really adds to the whole identity puzzle. How do you forget yourself but remember these creatures?
Exactly. It implies he's had some kind of experience with this hidden world before. It makes you ask, what kind of life was Jason living before the amnesia that would make storm spirits seem normal to him?
And as if defying gravity and meeting wind spirits wasn't enough, next thing you know, winged horses pulling a chariot. It doesn't get much more mythical than that. It's a clear signal that the world of Greek myths is alive and kicking in this story.
This chariot with the winged horses, it reinforces the fantastical nature of this world. It confirms that all these strange events aren't just one-offs, they're part of something bigger, older, and magical that Jason's somehow become a part of.
Now, while Jason's trying to wrap his head around all this, the excerpts give us a peek into Piper's thoughts, and it turns out she actually does know Jason. They just started dating after she'd been crushing on him all semester. So, for her, Jason's amnesia is a huge blow, her worst do-over. You really feel for her. The personal stakes are so high.
Piper's perspective brings this emotional core to the mystery. She's not just watching something strange unfold, she's losing the guy she cares about, forced to start over when they'd just begun.
And there's even more to it, because Piper's also keeping a secret, a dream she had about a horrible voice and horrible news. So both our main characters are dealing with these heavy secrets. Makes you wonder, what could this dream mean?
Piper's secret dream adds another layer of suspense, suggesting that Jason's amnesia might be tied to some bigger, darker events that are starting to happen, like their personal struggles are connected to a wider story.
Finally, they get taken to this place called Camp Half-Blood, and it's here that Annabeth shows up and starts to fill in some blanks. When Leo reacts to a picture of a fiery hammer, Annabeth explains that Vulcan is the Roman name for Hephaestus, the god of blacksmiths and fire. It's our first real connection to mythology, and notice how she mentions both Greek and Roman names. That might be important later on.
Annabeth explaining these Roman and Greek names, it's the first step in revealing the mythological rules of this world. Sets the stage for understanding who these characters they'll meet actually are. This Roman aspect, alongside the Greek, that's a detail worth remembering.
And then, boom, Annabeth drops the bomb. They're demigods, half human, half god. Seems like as demigods get older, they become targets for monsters, which is why they have protectors like Coach Hedge, who we find out is a satyr, half man, half goat. Piper's totally disbelieving at first, mostly because Hedge has a huge appetite, which gives us a little bit of humor in this pretty intense situation.
This whole demigod concept explains why Jason can do the things he can, why there are monsters around. And satyrs being protectors, it explains why Hedge was acting the way he was. Piper's reaction to Hedge's eating, it's a nice touch, brings those fantastical elements down to earth a bit. Reminds us that even in a world with gods and monsters, people still have normal reactions.
Annabeth also mentions the Golden Fleece being guarded by a dragon, which really drives home the magical nature of this camp and all these legendary items they have. But there's also this feeling that there's a bigger story going on, because she's obviously exhausted from searching for her missing boyfriend, Percy. So this new mystery is connected to an existing one, like there's this whole interconnected world out there.
The Golden Fleece and the Dragon. It firmly plants the story within classical mythology. And Annabeth's looking for Percy. It not only connects us to a character some listeners might already know, but also suggests that what's happening here is part of a much bigger world, a mythological universe with ongoing challenges and heroes.
So they arrive at Camp Half-Blood, and it sounds like a fascinating place. Cabins for all these different Greek gods: Artemis, Aphrodite, Demeter, Athena, Hecate, Hera, Hypnos. But even though everyone there is supposed to be a half-blood, Piper still feels like she doesn't belong, like the unwanted kid. Says a lot about her own insecurities and maybe how even in a special community like this, there are social dynamics at play.
The different cabins, it really paints a picture of Camp Half-Blood and how the Greek gods influence this demigod society. And Piper feeling like an outsider, even in a place where she should fit in, adds this emotional layer to her character. Shows that belonging isn't always about your outward identity.
Annabeth also mentions that usually there aren't any demigod children of the big three gods, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, except for a few, like Thalia Grace, Percy, and Nico. And Hera's cabin is considered honorary. Seems like a big deal, right? Establishes these rules or maybe special circumstances around these powerful demigods. Why are there exceptions? Why is Hera's cabin different?
Right. The fact that children of the big three are so rare, it highlights how powerful they are, how much they could shake things up. And Hera's cabin being honorary, it hints at her unique role in the Greek pantheon, how she interacts with demigods. It's complicated.
Then there's this really weird moment where Leo spots his old babysitter, Tia Kalita, at the camp. He hasn't seen her since he was 5, and he remembers her being super old, kind of creepy even. It pulls at another thread of hidden history, this time connected to Leo. What was his babysitter doing at a demigod camp?
Leo running into his babysitter. It opens up a personal mystery for him. Suggests he was connected to this supernatural world even before coming to Camp Half-Blood. She sounds like she might be more than just a regular babysitter.
Things take a darker turn when they go to Cabin 9, Hephaestus's cabin. There's this uneasy vibe, talk about a problem they're dealing with at the forges, and the empty bed of a counselor who died, Charles Beckendorf. It hits you that even though Camp Half-Blood is a safe place, it's not without danger and loss.
Cabin 9 definitely gives you this sense of danger, the sacrifices these demigods make. The problem they're dealing with, the dead counselor, it reminds you of the risks they face and hints at future threats.
We also notice that Leo has this natural knack for fire, but he's hiding it. The secrecy definitely makes you think he's got some powerful ability, maybe even a past trauma connected to it. Why wouldn't he want anyone to know?
The way Leo hides his fire abilities, it makes you think it's something big, maybe dangerous, and he's not ready to show it. Makes you wonder where it comes from and why he's so hesitant to use it.
In the middle of all this chaos, Jason's having his own internal struggle. He feels drawn to Piper, a real connection, but he also has this feeling that he shouldn't be there, that he doesn't belong, and that forming relationships, especially romantic ones, is wrong. Really emphasizes how different his past must have been from what he's experiencing now.
Jason feeling out of place, it shows how deeply the amnesia is affecting him. His feelings for Piper, but also this sense that it's wrong. It points to a past identity, loyalties that clash with where he is now.
And then Chiron, the centaur, the wise mentor, sees Jason, and his reaction is just chilling. He says, "You should be dead." That throws everything into a whole new light. It implies there's something huge, life-altering surrounding Jason.
Chiron's reaction, it raises the stakes massively, confirms that there's something incredibly unusual, maybe even dangerous, about Jason, like there was some event, a prophecy, something that should have led to his death.
We also meet Rachel, the oracle, who interprets a vision Piper and Jason had as an appearance of Hera, the goddess of marriage. Annabeth has a really strong negative reaction to Hera, which suggests some bad blood between them. Why would she react so strongly?
Rachel's interpretation brings in a major player from the Greek pantheon, suggests Hera's involved somehow. Annabeth's reaction, and tells you Hera's not someone to mess with, adds another layer of complexity, potential conflict to the situation.
What's also interesting is Chiron being unusually secretive. He says he's sworn an oath and tells Annabeth to explain the Greek and Roman gods to Jason. This secrecy and the specific instruction to explain both pantheons makes you think Jason's connected to this Roman side of things.
Chiron's oath and telling Annabeth to teach Jason about both Greek and Roman gods. It highlights how important that distinction is. Implies that Jason's origins, maybe even the reason for his amnesia, are tied to the Roman side of the mythological world.
Then, just as the tension's at its peak, Rachel announces that the great prophecy has begun, causing a total frenzy at the campfire. It's a clear sign that something huge, world-changing is happening, and these young demigods are smack dab in the middle of it.
The great prophecy starting, it means big, dangerous things are coming to the demigod world. It brings this urgency, this sense of impending doom to the story.
And as if all that wasn't enough, Jason suddenly summons lightning like it's the easiest thing in the world. Talk about a shocker. It really highlights his mysterious powers and hence at a connection to Zeus, the king of the gods.
Jason controlling lightning, it's a huge reveal. Strongly suggests he's related to Zeus in some way and makes the mystery of his past, his identity, even deeper.
So with all these pieces swirling around, the quest begins. Seems Hera's been imprisoned, breaking Hera's cage is their mission, and the prophecy warns about her rage if she's freed. Even with the danger, Jason's determined to go, driven by the need to get his memories back. So his personal journey is now linked to this huge mythological crisis.
The quest to free Hera, it becomes the main driving force of the story, intertwining Jason's personal search for himself with this potentially world-changing event. The warning about Hera's rage, it adds this element of risk, unpredictability to the whole thing.
And who's going on this crazy quest? Well, Jason. Piper, because of a vision she got from Hera and Leo. Our main trio is assembled, each with their own secrets and motivations, ready to face whatever comes next.
This particular group, Jason, Piper, and Leo, it feels deliberate, like maybe Hera herself planned it. Their skills, their backgrounds, the mysteries surrounding them, it all seems important for the challenges they're going to face.
Now, the excerpts take us back to Leo's childhood, and it's pretty intense. He runs into Tia Khalida, who talks about a future quest and all these sorrows to come. Then suddenly, Leo accidentally starts a fire, showing us he's always had this uncontrolled power over flames. This isn't new to him.
Leo's flashback gives us context for why he's so hesitant about his fire powers. Tia Khalida's words foreshadow a tough road ahead, pain and the importance of the quest. The fire shows us that his abilities are strong, potentially dangerous, and tied to something painful from his past.
And things get even darker in the flashback. Leo remembers his mother dying in a warehouse fire, a tragedy he blames himself for. This explains why he's so afraid of his pyrokinetic abilities. It's a huge emotional wound for him.
Leo's mother dying, it's a heavy part of his story. Explains why he fears and feels guilty about fire. This trauma, it's going to shape his choices, how he sees his powers throughout the quest.
But then in his memory, Tia Cleta reappears and tells him, "It wasn't your fault," and then this chilling warning, "Our enemy wakes." It connects Leo's personal pain to this bigger crisis, like his past is directly tied to the danger in the present.
Kika Kalita coming back in Leo's memory, it's a turning point. Connects his personal loss to the global threat. Her words suggest there's something bigger going on, that Leo's pain is somehow important to this crisis, to this enemy waking up.
And in a flash of realization, Leo understands that Hera's been watching over him his whole life, that he's meant to be on this quest, connected to a sleeping woman who represents the Earth. It's a big moment, confirms how important Leo is to the story, and hints at a potential battle with a powerful Earth entity.
Leo realizing Hera's been watching him, his connection to this sleeping woman, it reveals how crucial he is to the story. The sleeping woman sounds a lot like Gaia, the Earth Mother in Greek mythology. Maybe she's the main villain here.
Then we get a look into Jason's broken past through a dream. He sees a she-wolf, Lupa, and a burned house with these stone spires, a sacred place where demigods are claimed. Lupa gives him this cryptic warning, "Cleanse our house and stop her before it's too late." The whole dream feels Roman, reinforces the idea of a Roman connection for Jason.
Jason's dream brings in the Roman element, introduces this important place, the Wolf House. The idea of demigods being claimed there, it suggests a different system than the Greek-focused Camp Half-Blood. The Roman language, it hints at Jason's true heritage.
Lupa makes it clear how serious things are, saying that if she, Juno Hera, falls, our enemy wakes. Really drives home the high stakes of the quest, and she mentions the enemy awakening her most powerful son, the Giant King, giving us a name for the big bad they'll be facing.
Lupa's warning about the Giant King, it tells us who the main threat is. The connection between Hera being imprisoned and the Giant King waking up, it raises the stakes even higher. Like there's this delicate balance of power in the mythological world.
Back in the present, Jason finds something important in Zeus's cabin. A hidden sleeping area with pictures of Thalia, Grace, and Luke. And we know Luke is connected to betrayals and tragedy in this world. When Annabeth sees Thalia's name, her reaction is intense, like they share a painful past. These little clues hint at a web of relationships and events that happened before.
Jason finding the pictures of Thalia and Luke, it gives us more clues about the history of Camp Half-Blood, the relationships between these important people. Annabeth's reaction to Thalia's name, it suggests a strong, maybe traumatic connection between them. Adds another layer of complexity.
And just as a reminder of the central mystery, Chiron's warning to Jason, "You should be dead," is repeated. Then suddenly the doors burst open and they find out that Festus, the metal dragon Leo's been building, is back and ready to be their ride. A fantastical way to start their quest.
Chiron's warning, it keeps us thinking about the danger surrounding Jason. And Festus showing up is a dramatic start to the quest, gives them this powerful, symbolic way to begin their journey.
So to sum it all up for you, these excerpts have thrown us into this world of demigods with amnesia, hidden identities, Greek and Roman gods clashing, prophecies, and a quest to free a goddess while a giant king is about to wreak havoc. Jason, Piper, and Leo are setting off on this dangerous journey, dealing with lost memories, secrets, and a reality where myths are very much alive.
This deep dive has given you a good understanding of the world these heroes are facing. The clues, the foreshadowing we talked about, it all sets the stage for the challenges and surprises that are definitely coming their way.
And that leaves you with some questions to think about. What do you think about Jason's lost memories and Chiron's warning? How do you think Leo's past and his fire powers will play into the quest? And what's the deal with the Roman gods and this other Roman demigod camp? This is just the beginning. We've only just scratched the surface of the mysteries waiting for them. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening. It's going to be a wild ride.